Jaya Jaya, welcome to this video. We are here in Bali, beautiful space and energy, and I want to talk about, man, I'm going to wait for a little bit for people to start joining on this live video. And we are going to talk about men, male codes, masculinity, and what happens really when men come together. I'm going to reflect on my own experience over, the years during which I have been participating or leading or simply connecting with men. Sometimes we do that within ways that are formal, sometimes it's informal. Sometimes we're going to be simply synchronizing by, going for a hike together, and sometimes it's something that is a little bit more structured in the form of a workshop or an event or a celebration or some form of ritual that we might be doing together. So the reason why I want to cover this is because there is a huge potential that we are not tapping into yet as human race. And what I want to do right here is give you a few hints about what happens when a group of men come together, when simply two men start synchronizing with each other, when they start connecting, when they start synergizing or synchronizing their energy and really connecting on a heart space. That creates a new field of energy. It creates a field of resonance that changes your vibration or changes your frequency. So imagine what would happen if males, instead of being in rivalry or competition with each other, they had actually this potential to enter into energetic intimacy with each other. By intimacy, I don't mean connecting sexually, even though that's something that can happen if you are gay or attracted to men sexually, but I'm going to focus on something that is much more on the level of energetic intimacy. It's really opening heart to heart with other men. And so what tends to happen is that we as men tend to be isolated from each other. It means that we establish patterns through the conditionings that we have been building, that somehow we need to be in competition and in rivalry with each other, that we cannot trust our brothers, that we cannot engage, co-create, that we cannot synchronize somehow because of the structure of society or the way we have been conditioned. Another man is a potential enemy. He might be competition around females, for instance. He might be competition around business. And so what we are trying to do here is to shift that paradigm and realize that we can create a field of energy that is really powerful. So in my experience, when men come together, here is what happens. First, there is a moment of tension, right? That might last for a few minutes to an hour or even more. It means that there is a moment where you're not yet merging energies. Your system is still tense. Your system is still in this zone where your nervous system is still a little bit tense through the conditioning of past experience that you might have had with men. And then after we start doing practices like breathing or shaking or singing some mantras or connecting or doing some physical practices together or simply going into nature, bathing in a river or surfing together or doing something that is going to start synchronizing our energies, then eventually our system starts relaxing and we start really bonding on an energetic level. And so once this starts happening, then suddenly there is a whole new field of resonance that is happening. You can call that the brotherhood resonance field or the male resonance field. And the magic of that resonance field is that it is a new energy reality that embodies itself in us as a group, as a tribe. So what happens to me as a man, and what will happen probably for other men, is that suddenly this field of resonance, or this intelligence that we create together, that is the brotherhood resonance field, that resonance field is like a new support energy that we are going to take with us in life. And this resonance field becomes a source of power, a source of energy, or a source of guidance that we can tap into. Okay? So it's very important to understand how this works, because the presence or the awakening of this field of resonance suddenly becomes a supportive energy in your life. So here is what happens when I'm staying or I'm spending time with a group of men. So eventually when I go back into the world, go back by being by myself, living alone, or being with a lover, what is going to happen is that I'm going to kind of feel the resonance of this brotherhood that is going to be with me all the time. It means that when I'm making choices, when I'm waking up in the morning and decide how I want to lead my day, I'm going to be feeling this field of resonance from brotherhood that is going to be supporting my actions, offering me subtle guidance in the form of energetic resonance, empowering me to be at the best that I can be. It means that my whole system will look for ways to perform better, to be in deeper integrity with the values that I want to anchor on this planet. So it's going to be like a field or a wave of energy that is going to be supporting my vibration or my resonance. And so we create that field of resonance together by simply synchronizing our energy. And in my experience, this is a really magical experience. For the men out there who never experienced, a deep bonded connection with other men and dare to open up within that context, then suddenly something magical happens. So, do we still have shadows? Of course we do. Of course, sometimes I will see a brother and I know that we are in competition with each other for whatever reason. It might be because we are attracted to the same woman, or maybe it is because we are launching a similar type of business, or maybe he has been training at the gym and he looks really good and I look at him and say, fuck, you look really amazing, and I wish I had the body that you have, for instance, the muscles that you have, for instance. So there might still be competition, there might still be a rivalry, but there is a sense of awareness, there is a profound sense of recognition towards each other. And the thing that is very different is that from now on, we become a supportive force in each other's lives. And what happens when we activate that force precisely, we start using mantras like, I've got your back, I'm here for you, you can reach out. And when a brother, a man in my field enters in trouble, I feel a sense of compassion and a sense of understanding about his experience, precisely because we are heart bonded or heart connected. So if I have a brother, if I have a man, and that man starts entering into shadow mode, he will start being dishonest with me, or he will start, maybe lying to me, or doing certain things that I find are out of integrity, stealing money from, or being abusive with a girlfriend, or things like that. I'm going to start observing it from a different angle where I feel that brother's energy much better. It doesn't mean that I completely drop my boundaries. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be sometimes moving out of that connection with that brother. If I feel that that connection is not serving me, I'm not stupid, of course, I don't drop all that, but there is a certain body of awareness or a certain body of connection that starts being activated that was not there before. And that shifts my base in life. It really radically influences the way I'm behaving in life, because I feel that my brothers are actually watching, and I can become an example, I can ask for support, whether it's a physical calling or just an energetic resonance, you know, you sit down and you feel that energy. The more you build up on that vibration, the more you build up on that energy, the more you feel the energetic sponsorship from this brotherhood resonance field. And we are all in a path of evolution. Of course, you know, what I'm saying here works as well for sisterhood, it works as well for women coming together, it works as well between genders. It means that we can create groups of energetic resonance. But what's really important here, what I'm talking about, is the brotherhood field. It means that the connection from man to man, if you're not able or if you're not used to connecting from man to man, then this is something that you can really activate. Something else that is important is that it's not about controlling each other's lives. It's not about being here and me as a man, I'm going to be directive towards that brother and tell that brother what to do. No, not at all. I'm opening space. I have spaciousness around me, in me, and when I look at another man, I go like, you know, I trust that you have the power to make your own choices. So personally, and this is the way I engage, I don't project control on other men or on other brothers. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you how to engage into life. I'm not here to be directive unless you ask me to, from brother to brother, from man to man. Maybe there is going to be a moment where you ask me for some coaching, or maybe I ask you for some advice. It's possible. But it doesn't mean that we release control. It means that we build up on our mutual leadership power and start upgrading our codes, upgrading how we behave in life. And the qualities that we start embodying, you know, become more aligned with our highest potential. So I just want to give you a couple of ideas more about what that means. There is something that I call the brotherhood codes, or the codes of behavior, or how we are going to relate to each other. What are the qualities that we want to engage into each other's lives? So, for instance, you have qualities like love, respect, appreciation, alignment, presence, care, consideration, collaboration, support, clarity, integrity, emotional safety, consistency, loyalty, tribal connection, spaciousness, flexibility, mission and purpose, expansion, truth, awareness. You see, this is just a fraction of the list of what the qualities that we want to embody in life in general. But what tends to happen is that when we are going around, you know, for instance, doing business or engage in any form of human activity, sometimes we lose a little bit touch with these values, and we start precisely, you know, entering into shadow mode, entering into lack of honesty, for instance, or doing things that are not going to be our highest potential or our highest resonance. So the field of brotherhood, what this field of brotherhood is going to do, the resonance field of brotherhood it's going to basically create a sponsorship or an energetic resonance where those positive qualities tend to be enhanced and activated more than if you are doing all that by yourself. It makes sense. It's something that happens in all areas of life. Anytime you have a group of people coming together, every time you have individuals, you know, joining forces, eventually we're going to synchronize our energy. So absolutely everything that I'm saying here could be applied to sisterhood. It can be applied to male-female dynamics. It can be applied to coupling experiences as well. Anytime you have two human beings or a group of human beings coming together, those same kind of dynamics are going to start happening. But the dynamics in the brotherhood circles, when men come together, when groups of men come together, those are going to be really, really special dynamics. And if you haven't experienced them as men, then it's a powerful thing to dive into. I want to invite you, if you have any questions, let me just check something. So if you have any questions right now, things that you would like to bring into this conversation, I invite you to post them over here. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on talking about it. Questions about malehood or masculinity, questions about brotherhood. For you as guys, is this something that you have been experiencing, and what are maybe the limiting factors? Where is the place where you feel like you are really diving and expanding, and what are the places where you feel like you are you're feeling like contracting around this kind of dynamics? And yeah, those codes that we are talking about, the brotherhood codes, like love, respect, appreciation, alignment, it's all choices. Those are all values that we anchor, that we can bring into our lives. So I see that there are quite a few women who are watching the live right now. I encourage you to check inside of you and think about situations or challenges that you are facing with the man in your life, and what are the exact patterns that you recognize in the man around you that you feel could be upgraded. What are the qualities that you feel the man in your life, it might be one specific man, it might be a brother, a father, a lover, maybe even a son, a friend. What is the exact quality that specific man could be adding into his life that he's not adding yet? And another question is, do you recognize the power of brotherhood? Do you see the difference when you know that the man in your life, it might be your lover or your partner or your husband, is actually connecting with other brothers in a powerful way? And basically, do you see how this is impacting in that man's life? It's the brotherhood and the male codes is a vast topic. There is much more to say about that when it comes to brotherhood codes. Here is another list of qualities that you want to tap into as men. The idea of freedom, of support, of play, of lightness. Every man has inside of him also an inner child that just wants to be free and loving and playing in nature. Another quality is ease and flow, inclusion as well, right? The idea of inclusion is the opposite of exclusion, of course. If you have a circle of people or a circle of men coming together, and you as a man, you feel excluded out of the circle for whatever reason, maybe because you don't have the same culture, or you don't have the same belief system or the same practices, then you feel excluded and out. So this idea of inclusion is also something really powerful that we try to embody within the men's circles. Being connected with your instincts as well, being able to tap into this kind of animal power and animal instincts that we want to embody as men. The idea of truth or vital truth. So this one is a very important one as well that you can apply in your life, in all conditions, in all situations. The vital truth code is the idea that you always have access to tap into something that is really alive and profound inside of you. So when you're in your truth, it's like this feeling of resonance and being anchored inside of you. And this is also a powerful one. The idea of prioritizing, the idea of responsiveness. The responsiveness code also within the brotherhood codes is the idea that when you have somebody that needs your help or needs your connection or wants to connect, you are really present to engage with that person when the time is right for you as well. So instead of avoiding, instead of not being really present, you are able to hold space and being right there. The idea of challenge as well. One of the things that we really enjoy within brotherhood circles is the idea of challenging each other as well. It's like sometimes we start a session and we go like, I give you permission to challenge me, give me 3 things that I could improve in my life, and I want you to be supportive to that. So it's it's precisely, you know, the idea of challenging each other is also something that upgrades us massively. The idea of joy and lightness also, it's a very important one for all of us. And when we enter into malehood, you know, we are like, oh, we are men, we are powerful brothers. You know, sometimes there is something that tends to become a little bit too serious, too, you know, a man has to be like a mountain. And in my experience, the idea of masculinity can be you know, varying between lots of different directions. And the part of playfulness, the part of being like a fool, the part of being free is an essential part of being male as well. You have the trust as well, you know, the idea of being able to trust life and connecting with other men from a place of I trust you. I trust that life is going to guide you to make the right choices. I trust that when you are talking to me, you are speaking from a place of truth, honesty, and so this idea of trust is really important. Another one that we practice a lot in men's circles is the idea of nurturing each other, you know, really offering love. Sometimes as men we are wounded, we are hurt, we are going to experience challenges in life that require support, energetic or emotional support. So it's really, really amazing when suddenly we come together and you have a circle of 10 men maybe, and we put one of us in the center and we put our hands on that man's body and we start humming together, we go like, and we start whispering words of truth and words of power to that brother. It's like it completely uplifts the vibration. It can be such a powerfully healing experience. We are going to be mirrors to each other. For instance, we sit in front of each other and we are going to be eye-gazing, connecting, breathing together, and sometimes enter into really profound sharing. You know, what are the things right now where I feel like I'm really showing up in life? For instance, that might be one of the questions. Another question might be, what is the moment in your life where you got really hurt by another man? And we are going to be, for instance, we are going to be doing something that is called aspecting. It means that if I'm sitting in front of another man, another brother, that man is going to be speaking to me as if I was his brother or his father or his son, or a sibling, a grandfather, somebody that might have done something to him that was hurtful, and he will be able to release what he's got to voice to the masculine by speaking to me directly. And so we are going to be anchoring all those codes, you know, all of these energies, and we're talking about, sometimes we nail one of these aspects, but it's really a vast field of potential. And you know, another quality that we anchor very much is the idea of accessing the wild man, you know, being able to be in fire, in intensity, or intensity mastery. It means that sometimes you are exposed to situations in life that are going to be really, really challenging, and you've got to show up in full warrior mode. So that's really powerful. I see quite a few messages being posted right now, so let me just check one question over here. This is from Pavlina. Yes, I'm just going to read the comment. Yes, most men are so stuck in their heads, they don't see other perspectives. I would love for men to bring more open-mindedness into their lives. They would achieve an awareness of what it's like for a woman to live in this world too. A better communication would be the result. So what I understand here with this question is that it's a request for men to engage into male-female dynamics from a place which is a little bit more open-minded, instead of just navigating male-female dynamics with your head. It's entering a little bit more into an open-hearted and open conversation about the dynamics of, or the understanding of what's happening into the women's world. So this request from a woman is precisely for men to show up in a way that is a little bit more open-minded. And of course, you know, this is called holding two ideas at the same time. You as a man, you might have something that is anchored in your field. You have a belief. It's important for these beliefs, for these ways in which you have been engaging in life, to be relatively flexible, right? So this is a really, really good point. Thanks for pointing that out. And another comment, men's circles are an excellent idea, have changed my clients' lives. So yeah, again, tell me more about how those men's circles have changed your clients' lives. What are the exact changes that you witnessed in them? Yeah, beautiful. Arlen, I love you too, brother. Of course, there is much more to say about this topic. I want to keep on extending and going a little bit deeper on that. Now, we checked on brotherhood codes, and of course, you know, then once we start looking at the values, then there is going to be what we call the male shadows or the brotherhood shadows. So the way I look at shadows of shadow mastery for men is not at all from a place of suppression. You know, if you as a man, you're experiencing rage or anger or frustration, the goal is to offer a safe space for you to be able to navigate and express those emotions, those feelings, be able to activate them, be able to understand them, be able to release them as well. So there is much more to say about that. I want to give you an idea about what is contained within the brotherhood activations. We talk a lot about male archetypes as well. So in terms of male archetypes, I'm just going to give you a few ideas over here. We have what we call the king or the father. So this is the powerful leader figure that is going to take place in life. And you have the fool or the child. This is the one who is kind of liberated, moving around. You have the lover, then you have the mystic magician or priest. So this one is the one who is really tuned into a spiritual path. Then you have the creator, the scientist, the entrepreneur or the artist. And this one is the one who is really activating the throat chakra and connecting with the world from a very creative place. My kitten is activating its throat chakra as well. I'm not sure if you can hear her. And then you have the warrior, the wild man, the adventurer, the one who is really free in life and really, you know, going and being driven by passion. And so those ones are, to summarize, you have the king, the fool, the lover, the mystic, the creator, the warrior. So those are 6 core archetypes. And there is another one that has been emerging a lot, which is the Shakti, or the man embodying female qualities, what we would call female qualities, which are, of course, you know, another aspect of male qualities, but basically places where you can start tapping into something that is soft, tender, you know, navigating life from a place which is a place of fluidity. So I'm not yet sure if in the model of the archetypes that I'm using, if I'm going to add this one, the Shakti archetype of the feminine archetype as well within the male archetypes, which is kind of contradictory, but you see my point, you see why this might be important. And when it comes to, for instance, the lover, of course, you know, this is sexual energy, and how we use our sexual energy is really an important aspect of being a man. And so this is also exploring, you know, how we use our sexual energy in general. I will come up to the male archetypes in another video, and but basically, yeah, we have all these different, you know, aspects that we can tap into. There is the brotherhood, the male codes, the male activation codes. There is the archetypes, and all of that comes within what we do within the men's circle. Arlen, you are posting another comment. One thing I would be really valuable for men to hear directly from women is how they appreciate the mature, dark, masculine showing up. So this is something that, of course, you know, men are kind of craving frequently. It is to be fully seen, right? So I want to talk about that a little bit because it's a really good and important point. And it is the idea that we as men, we want to be fully seen. So what tends to happen when we enter into a relationship or we enter into being a lover or connection with a woman is that naturally we're going to be guided to be the best that we can be. And there are certain aspects of our personality that are not necessarily going to be accepted. It means that there is a kind of domestication process that happens, educating process where we as partners, we try and we tend to control each other's life and guide us into modifying our behaviors to accommodate each other. And so there are certain aspects, that men love expressing and we tend to suppress in society. A lot of it has to do with the wild man, the wild raging man, the warrior, the one who is going full power, full passion, who has got lots of degrees of intensity. And it's relatively rare for women to be able to hold space for that expression. The same with the predator aspect of the masculine, the one who is really sexually in fire and really, really powerful. Women say they love that, but it has to happen within a context which is safe for both parties. So, yeah, it's when women come together and they ask what they need from men, women want to be seen by the masculine. They want to be fully seen by the masculine. They don't want to be judged for the aspects that are imperfect. They don't want to be judged for the aspects that are shadow. For instance, this morning, even just this morning, I had a woman in my field. This is not somebody that I'm engaging with, but a woman in my field who was directly lying to me. I know that she was lying. I have the proof, and she was lying to me. And in the beginning, I was a little bit triggered, and then it shifted to compassion and curiosity. It was like, oh, she probably developed this specific lying mechanism and dynamic because of experiences that she had from the past. So it's a defense mechanism. So a part of me goes like, enters into softness and doesn't feel threatened because I have a boundary. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to buy into the lies, but I see the process, and so I observe the shadow, which in that case is the lying shadow. It's a dynamic. It's a very specific dynamic in the interaction between two human beings. I see that dynamic, and then I accept it. I don't try to change her. I don't try to influence her. I didn't even point it out. I'm allowing her to be in that shadow and be fully seen and be accepted. Of course, without letting my boundaries drop and without being stupid about it, but I allow this to be present in the field. So when it's the other way around, okay, imagine that you have a man in front of you who is behaving expressing certain things or certain shadows that you would label as immature. What you're saying is that man is not perfect. And sometimes as guys, we want to be allowed not to be perfect. It doesn't mean that we are going to consciously cultivate the shadows and behave like jerks or assholes. No, this is not the idea. But the idea is that, sometimes I'm not perfect. What you're describing here, the thing that triggered you this morning, is an aspect of my humanness. I am human, and sometimes I'm going to be doing things that you can label as a mistake, or that you can label as something that makes you uncomfortable or challenges you. And I still want to be seen. I still want to be accepted as a fully grown human being, because as a man, I might not be perfect. Okay? So this has to do with imperfections, the shadows, or the immature aspects. But then there is other things. There are other things which are, the parts inside of us that we really own, and that could be labeled as shadows as well. For instance, the ability to access rage and anger, for instance, with lovers, sometimes with partners, being in relationship, we give each other the permission to access fire and rage and power and anger. So within men's circles, this is something that we are going to do as well. We are going to give each other very often the possibility and the power to actually access those qualities. The reason why we need to be able to access that as men is really because society tends to suppress a lot of these emotions and a lot of these aspects. It tends, society and education tends to domesticate us, where suddenly we start losing contact or touch with this power. And so the idea is to be able to access those qualities and do that within a safe space. So reaccessing the wild man, of course, is one of the things that we can gain out of being in brotherhood, within brotherhood circles. Okay, thank you for this question. Yeah, another thing here, Paulina, again, men in men's circles get to experience their vulnerability in a safe space, from what I understood. Yeah, totally. It means that there is going to be a safe space for men to be real, where their vulnerability is not going to be used against them. And, you know, when we talk about vulnerability and opening up that space, it's a big conversation right now, right? On social media, like people get really vulnerable. Here is something that happened to me, vulnerable post, right? What this means is that it's really a satisfying feeling to be able to drop the weapons and be like, you know what, I'm not perfect. So when we do that within men's circles and we express maybe a pain or something that happened to us, a challenging experience or something that we are suffering from in society or in relationship, or the challenge that we are facing, you know, being out of money, out of cash, or facing some health issues. I had another brother reaching out the other day, you know, he was like, here, I'm facing these health issues and I don't know what to do about it. And so the idea that that man trusts me enough to open up without me going and gossiping about it or using that vulnerability against him, that's the kind of thing that is really tends to be missing in society. So when we start opening those pathways and those doorways from man to man, within the context of men's circles, then it opens the heart, it opens a dimension that we would not be accessing otherwise, and really changes the vibration. Think about how many men out there might be depressed or you know, attempt suicide all over the world. It's crazy. So what this means is that there is a sense of isolation, there is a sense of separation, there is something that is missing in the connection with ourselves, and we can be in support to each other. And I can tell you that by experience, having a strong brotherhood or man-to-man connection is one of the really, really powerful things that you can anchor into your life. So if you're a man out there and are inspired to launch men's groups or men's connections or men's activities, you know, I can tell you there is a real demand for that. So totally green light to go that way. And another thing that I want to tell you as well is that if you are a man out there, dare to reach out to other brothers. This doesn't mean that we're going to enter into an ongoing therapy session, you know, that we're going to be holding each other's hands in vulnerability all the time. No, it can be fun, it can be powerful, it can be free-flowing, and it's something that we practice all the time. Another important element is that male-to-male connection doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to be like workshop setting or class setting or gathering, official gathering setting. I mean, I'm in contact. I have probably like 20, 30, 40 men in my field with who I'm interacting all the time. When we see each other, we just jump into each other's arm. Hey, brother, how is it going? How are you? Here, have some cacao. I love you. Always remember, you can always reach out, you know. So this reinforcement of heart-to-heart connection is really, really important. Something else that I prioritize in the way I relate to other men is to prioritize harmony. Okay, it means that if, for instance, I'm doing something, or there is a negative feedback coming my direction, or some guy is kind of saying something nasty or posting some nasty comments on one of my posts, you know, I prioritize being in a state of harmony and de-escalating the fights. For instance, that's my one of my favorite strategies, and one of the things that keeps the harmony going. It means that I'm not interested, unless we decide to go that way together, I'm not interested in entering into arguments, debates, political debates, or things that, you know, build up the tension between brothers. For me, what I'm interested in right now is like, how can we be in support to each other? Yeah, sometimes challenge each other, sometimes debating is interesting, but there are lots of arguments out there that are not very useful. So basically it's deciding how I want to connect. So the values that I try to embody is presence, responsiveness, love, care, high energy, vibration, fun, playfulness, tremendous support for each other, and be in my power. You know, when two brothers come together and you have like two fucking solid warriors coming together, it's really, really empowering to play within that field. So, yeah. Let me just check if you have some more questions over here. Yeah, that's it for now. I'm going to finish this video. Feel free to post in the comments. Please post in the comments rather than send me private messages, because that way I can answer within the comments and reply, offer replies that everybody can witness and see. And of course, you know, if you have men in your field that you think would benefit from male-to-male connection, send them to me. Sometimes we do that within the context of coaching sessions as well. It means that I'm going to be engaged and position myself as a coach to, you know, for male empowerment purposes, and to give this man tactics, but otherwise within the field, you know, we might be launching some new men's circles soon over here in Obudia. And if you are somebody out there in the world and you are planning on launching men's circles or men's gatherings, I can give you some hints, ideas on how to set it up, what are the kind of practices that work really well, what are the intentions, what are the frames that you can start embodying. I love you so much. This is fun. I might see you soon tomorrow for another live. And stay high, stay tuned, and stay connected. Brothers, I love you. Women, if you're witnessing that, know that the masculine loves you. I'll see you soon.